Si quieren, sigan aquí más adelante para que puedan estar más cerca
Sí.
y hacer las preguntas al final del evento. Gracias. Estimados miembros de la comunidad universitaria, sean todos bienvenidos a este nuevo evento de la Semana de Internacionalización 2023-2, organizadas por la Dirección de Relaciones Exteriores. Hoy tenemos unos invitados muy especiales traídos por el Instituto de Expo Nórdico 2023. Damos gracias a quienes se encuentran presencialmente en la sede de Bogotá y a quienes nos acompañan en virtual. Posteriormente damos paso a nuestras invitadas de la Universidad del Sur de Dinamarca, con quienes compartiremos hoy un tinto muy especial. Las preguntas serán respondidas al final del evento, entonces les agradecemos tomar nota o incluirlas en los chats de los eventos en las transmisiones y al final serán todas respondidas. Muchas gracias y bienvenidos.
Uy, bueno, gracias Pilar. Gracias por darnos el espacio el día de hoy. Lastimosamente no puedo estar acá hace como dos semanas, como hace 3 semanas que fue Expo Nórdico, porque estaba en Ámsterdam hablando con universidades allá. De hecho, antes estaba en Dinamarca visitando a SDU de nuevo, una universidad increíble. Que al frente del mar, es así de divino. Ya llamamos por la tercera generación de estudiantes que se van a ir a SDU. La mayoría de nuestros estudiantes la mayoría de los aplicantes nuestros son ustedes, ¿eh? Nosotros amamos la Universidad Nacional. Pero ustedes son los mejores estudiantes que hay. Bueno. Lo que queremos que más personas de la Universidad Nacional aplican para ir a los países nórdicos. Bueno, listo. Como comentaba Pilar, mi nombre es Jörgen Sjöberg y soy el gerente general del Instituto Nórdico. Lo que ustedes ven acá detrás es algo muy interesante, que son las auroras boreales. ¿Sí? Cuando piensan como los países nórdicos, me gustaría ver las auroras boreales. Son bien lindos. De hecho, no lo he visto. A pesar que soy de Suecia, no lo he visto. Porque para nosotros es como, bueno, las auroras boreales, sí, están por allá. Pero es un fenómeno que muchas personas les gustaría ver, ¿sí? Entonces acá me son las auroras boreales. ¿Me escuchan bien o no? Sí, perfecto. Vamos a ver acá. Listo. Entonces, ¿por qué los países nórdicos necesitan profesionales como ustedes? ¿Sí? La primera pregunta. Pues, como ven acá, la población está envejeciendo, ¿sí? Está volviendo más cuchos. Mira, bueno, ya soy muy cucho, 45 años. Pero la edad no es un limitante en los países nórdicos, ¿eh? No es limitante, no voy a tener la edad que sea y ir a estudiar allá, ¿sí? Entonces no es limitante la edad de contar. Pero igual, sé que ustedes todos que están acá son muy jóvenes, entonces no se preocupen por eso. Entonces, pero les pido personas de todas las edades. Bueno, hablando de iniciativa, innovar. En los países nórdicos somos bastante emprendedores, ¿sí? Empezando por cosas como Spotify, la cremallera que es sueca, entre otros, ¿sí? Entonces nosotros apoyamos mucho a las personas que son muy emprendedores, ¿sí? Entonces veamos como tal con dinero para que puedan realizar sus ideas allá, ¿sí? De hecho, hablando con los países nórdicos, uno dice, pues, tiene un tiempo después de su estudio para buscar trabajo o que usted iniciar su propia empresa allá. ¿Sí? Entonces, queremos empresarios, lo pueden hacer en Suecia o en general en los países nórdicos. Bueno, Lo otro que pioneros en energías renovables. Nosotros somos muy buenos en la energía renovable. Cuando empiezas a mirar cómo esa cosa de como Sustainable Development Goals, como las metas sostenibles, cuando empiezas a mirar ahí, los países nórdicos les dan los primeros 3 puestos como tal, ¿sí? Entonces, si les gustaría hacer algo en energías renovables, es el sitio, bueno. ¿Listo? ¿Me escuchan bien? Perfecto. Alta oferta de profesionales calificados. Estamos acá con la Universidad con SDU. Están preocupados, imagínense. Porque la gente de Dinamarca no estudian ingeniería. Hay pocos, diría que tenemos pocos, pero no hay suficientes daneses que estudian ingeniería para cumplir con lo que necesita el país. Tienen muchísimos ingenieros, una cantidad, ¿sí? De hecho, la mayoría de las personas que estudian en SDU no son de Dinamarca, son de otros países, ¿sí? Admiten a todos en sus programas, todos, porque tienen tantos ingenieros, ¿sí? Entonces, alta oferta de profesionales calificados. ¿Qué pasa ahí? Como en mi caso, por ejemplo, en Suecia uno termina el bachiller y luego uno consigue un trabajo, ¿sí? Entonces, ¿por qué voy a estudiar más si ya tengo un trabajo? Hoy en día hay más personas que hacen pregrado como tal, pero diría todavía hay pocos, ¿sí? Entonces, que no, tiene pregrado y ya. Que una persona ya, sí, con una maestría, no es tan común, porque hay más personas de nórdicos que siguen con una maestría. Pero imagínense, si ustedes llegan allá y hacen una maestría, están mejores calificados que la gente, que varias personas de allá, imagínense. Bueno. Vamos a mirar lo más interesante. Mira acá. SDU, que tiene becas del 100% y hasta el momento también tiene una beca para la manutención de 400 euros. Y esa beca es para ingenieros electrónicos, mecatrónicos y mecánicos. Acá falta mecánicos. Bueno, entonces, qué mala presentación ahí, qué pena. Pero sí, es electrónica, mecatrónica y mecánica. Empleo garantizado a la hora de finalizar el estudio. ¿Qué necesita uno acá? Pues llegar a un buen nivel de danés, como un nivel B1, que no es difícil. Los cursos de danés son gratis, ¿no? Y aparte de eso, no tener retrasos en los estudios. Ellos no quieren que se tengan retrasos en los estudios, ¿eh? No lo quieren, ¿eh? Entonces, y literal, pocas personas utilizan la garantía de SDU. Porque consiguen un trabajo antes en la industria. Entonces, que usan la garantía que da SDU. ¿Sí? Pues sean tantos ingenieros allá. Entonces, pues suena increíble, ¿no? No es la trata blanca como decía ustedes, es una realidad. ¿Sí? Vamos a seguir acá. Unos tips para estudiar en los países nórdicos. Pues lo más importante acá es el IELTS, como un IELTS 6.5, ninguna banda por abajo 5.5, un TOEFL, por ahí como 82 en el caso de SDU. También es muy importante mirar los prerequisitos para los programas, porque en el caso de SDU te van a mirar que se han hecho como, no sé, 15 créditos de matemática, 15 créditos de no sé qué, ¿sí? Nosotros tenemos muchas experiencias con la persona de la Universidad Nacional y sabemos que se cumplen con estos requisitos, ¿sí? Pero si nosotros vamos a ayudar con el proceso como tal, y nosotros no cobramos ni un peso. Nosotros, el Instituto Nórdico, no cobramos ni un peso por nuestros servicios, ¿sí? Porque las universidades en el exterior nos apoyan, ¿sí? Nosotros trabajamos con más de 17 universidades en los países nórdicos. Si la opción de SDU no es la de usted, igual trabajamos con otras universidades en los países nórdicos. Por ejemplo, en la área de biología, estamos hablando de Uppsala, química y otras. Entonces, no se preocupen. Si SDU, no, de pronto SDU no es mi opción, nosotros lo tenemos. Bueno, hay muy, muy buenas becas, ¿sí? Y la mitad de los aplicantes son de la Universidad Nacional. Bueno, para contactar a nosotros, bueno, el otro tema que es importante tener en cuenta es el tema, ¿cómo voy a financiar el estudio? Es importante que ustedes no se asustan porque hay algo que se llama Colfuturo o que se llama ICETEX, ¿sabe? A mí me parece que son buenas entidades. Si ustedes regresan, después de haber hecho una maestría en el exterior, condonas al 80% del préstamo, 80%, ¿sí? No tienen que regresar de una, pueden estar allá durante 3 años y luego regresar a Colombia, ¿sí? Y CETEX prestan hasta $25.000 con una tasa de interés del 0% de que estudian. ¿Ustedes sabían eso? ¿No? Bueno, es importante que vean el tema de estudio como una inversión a largo plazo, ¿sí? La realidad es que la mayoría de las personas se quedan allá en Europa trabajando, ¿sí? Lastimosamente. Bueno. Siguiente, nosotros ya tuvimos un Expo Nórdico, una feria de Expo Nórdico acá en sus instalaciones, eso fue hace como 3 semanas. Fue un evento increíble, en la cual más de 800 personas se inscribieron, más de 800. Estaban llenos todo el día, lastimosamente. No podría estar acá ese día, que es muy triste, pero bueno. Vamos a ir a la Nacional pronto, como le ven acá. La próxima semana en Luis, y luego vamos a la Nacional, luego vamos a el Colegio Santa María. ¿Quiénes somos? Pues como comentaba, mi nombre es Jürgen Sjöberg. Nosotros también tenemos clases de idiomas acá, idiomas como sueco, noruego, finés, que no son tan típicos, ¿no? Entonces nosotros también tenemos cursos de esos idiomas. También somos un centro donde puede certificar el idioma sueco. Nosotros, si se dice, no, todavía mi nivel de inglés no está tan bien, trabajamos también con institutos de idiomas en el exterior. Bueno, todos los servicios son gratis, todos son gratis con nosotros, ¿sí? No van a pagar ni un peso a nosotros, porque las universidades nos apoyan. Bueno, también tenemos una traductora oficial, eso sí, la traducción sí cuesta un poco, pero solo tenemos una traductora oficial también. Y bueno, acá están los datos para contactarnos. Síganos en Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, y acá está nuestro QR. Bueno, entonces, si quieren estudiar los países nórdicos, ahí está el QR. Bueno, igual ahora después de la charla de SDU, acercarse a mí y intercambiamos datos. ¿Listo? Entonces, voy a dar la palabra ahora con Cine o con Anne. ¿Cine o Anne? ¿Cine? Ok, listo. Entonces voy a dejar ahora la presentación para que Cine siga. Bueno, listo.
Ya.
Listo.
Wonderful. I hope everyone can hear me, both at home and here inside. So yes, thank you so much for coming and welcome to the presentation. I'm happy that there are this many of you and also that there are people participating online. So yes, my name is Sine and I'm from the University of Southern Denmark. And in Denmark, we don't use the last names, we mainly use the first names. Same with the professors, director of the university, everything. So if you have any questions, just first name, Sine, very easy. So at the university, we have 2 campuses. This is our main campus. We have all of or a lot of our master programs on this campus. The city itself is called Odense. It's kind of known as the fairy tale city of Denmark. I don't know if you have heard about the author, Hans Christian Andersen. He wrote The Little Mermaid, The Ugly Duckling, a lot of fairy tales. He's from here. So this is kind of known as the fairy tale city of Denmark. He grew up there, you can see his house, there are a lot of amazing things. And it's also the 3rd largest city of Denmark. So it's, compared to Bogota and a lot of other larger Colombian cities, still quite small. Approximately 300,000 people are living there, but it's still the 3rd largest city of Denmark. It's also a very strong area for robotics. We have a very strong robotics program here, but we also have a lot of companies that work with robotics. One of them is Universal Robots. And some of the things that the students do here, of course, as well, is participate in international robotics competitions. And I think it was 2018 or 2019, right before COVID, we actually won the unofficial World Championship in robotics. So there's a lot to look forward to if you are studying that. There's a lot of labs, workshops, equipment that you can use as a student. We work very practically. That's general for all of our engineering programs. You will have semester projects where you have to work in smaller groups. You will, develop, program, invent something new in the smaller groups, and of course, use your expertise for this. And of course, all the programs, master programs here that I'm going to talk about, or all the programs in general today, are going to be completely in English. So you don't have to worry about anything in Danish. I know that Jürgen said something about B1 level in Danish, but that is only when you apply for the first job guarantee. So when you arrive to Denmark, no need for Danish. Here are a few pictures of the campus. It's a very lovely campus. On your left, not my left, on your left, you can see the building from outside. There are a lot of different nationalities there as well. We have a massive lab where we work with drones and aerodynamics. And in general, it's a very modern campus. Here you can also see a few pictures. And as I said, it is very hands-on, and you can also see that on the right, on the bottom. Because we do want you to learn all the practical skills, not just know the theoretical knowledge, but also know how to use the skills that you learn. So approximately a third of your semesters will be spent on something practical. The other campus that we have is all the way down in Sønderborg. It's a small city, approximately 30,000, so a tenth of the size of Odense, but still very international, there's a lot of things to do, even though it's a small town. You will not be bored, I promise you that. Everything on this campus is taught in English. You will have more than 75% of international students. Approximately maybe 80% of all our students are international from all over the world. So it's a very unique study environment as well. We have approximately 14 different study programs, both bachelor's and master's. Then, of course, again, we work in smaller groups to do projects. There's a lot of practical experience with companies as well. That's also the case for the campus in Odense. And then we have a lovely campus directly at the waterfront. And of course, Scandinavian lifestyle, as I said before, with the whole, you don't use sir, madam, professor, doctor, last name, anything, just first name basis, same when you speak with professors. So this is the campus. On, again, your left, not mine, you can see the inside is actually our cafeteria. The trees are real, by the way, they're not fake. And some of you have probably heard about the Danish word hygge, where it's like a cozy kind of dew. It's really hard to explain and hard to translate, but it's a cozy atmosphere, hanging out with friends, just enjoying life, basically. And because we also want to have that atmosphere on campus, when it gets darker in the winter, we put lights in the trees. And it's a bit hard to see on the picture, but right outside the glass wall is actually the picture on the bottom to your right. It's the Baltic Sea that comes in, so it's not just a small lake or anything like that. It is the ocean. We do not recommend swimming there. It's cold, well, not in the summer, but there's a lot of currents. We do have people doing it, but we recommend not to. The city itself also has a lot to offer, as I said. The campus itself is located on the mainland, whereas the city is located on an island. It's only approximately 50 meters across, so it's not something you have to worry about. You don't have to sail or swim or anything. There's a bridge. But because we are located on an island with a lot of water, we have a lot of water sports, of course, as well. So if you're interested in trying to maybe do some kite surfing, we have a lot of rowing clubs as well, and a lot of different activities in general. Because we are small, or even though we are a small city, we still have a lot of cafes, restaurants, and things to do. The top picture is from one of those areas where we have a lot of cafes, where we can enjoy the sun outside. And yes, we do have sun. It doesn't rain all the time. I promise you that. And of course, very importantly, every university in Denmark, if they want to be an official university, has a Friday bar. It's a bar for students, run by students, where you have Halloween parties, you have karaoke nights, pub quizzes, all sorts of things. And it's run by students, for students. Adults also sometimes go there. But that also means you can actually go out, have fun with your fellow students without having to pay an immense amount of money. I think a beer costs approximately €1.50. So it's really cheap. and they have some fun parties, fun nights. So the study programs that we have are these. We have added a few more because we're starting more study programs. But for the masters, I'm going to skip the bachelors completely because they're not relevant. For the masters, we have electronics, we have mechatronics, then we have engineering, innovation, and business. We also have the robot systems and robotics that I was talking about earlier. Then we have software engineering, both in Odense, and next year we're also going to start it up in Sønderborg. And then we have physics and technology, at the moment in Odense, starting up in Sønderborg next year again. And then mechanical engineering starting up next summer as well. All of these study programs that are located in Sønderborg, so that's electronics, mechanical engineering, mechatronics, engineering, innovation, and business, one of the softwares, and one of the physics and technology, are all eligible for the first job guarantee. So that means when you graduate, you have So a lot of the semester projects that I talked to you about, where you spend a third of your semester working on something, developing something, could look like this. So this is a semester project from one of our engineering, innovation, and business programs. Their assignment was to build a robot that could climb a fence or a ladder or ropes, and it had to be inspired by an animal. So this group chose a gecko. Of course, it climbs up walls. Then they had to develop a prototype and build the robot itself. And as you can see on the top, it has some sensors as well. So this robot would go the ropes, register that it was at the top, and then climb down again. This is a bachelor project, so on the master it's going to be a bit more challenging, and you'll have a bit more artistic liberties, so to speak, to basically develop whatever you and your group would prefer to do. So now the first job guarantee. It's for 6 months. It's not an internship, it's a job. So when you graduate, you can get 6 months in a job in Denmark, in the southern part of Denmark, where you will have to, or where you get to try out a job. You will be matched with a company so that you are happy with the position, but the company is also happy with you, of course. Then you'll get a full salary of full starting salary of an engineer in Denmark, which is approximately 4,500 euro a month. And then you have the time to prove yourself as a good employee, or to figure out, is this even the area of engineering that I would like to work in? Maybe you're trying out something in R&D, or you're trying out something in project management, and you find out this is not quite what I'm looking for. I'd like to maybe go in a bit of a different direction. And then you're free to say, thank you, but now I'm done in this company or in this position, and then go look for something else. However, most of our students do get a permanent position in the job that they're currently working at as the first job guarantee. And the reason why we have this first job guarantee is because we need a lot of engineers in Denmark. That's also why we're here today. We really need a lot. We would love to have all of you, and the companies too. I don't think we're going to have this video. It's basically also telling you the same things that I'm telling you, but I'm going to talk about this one, because in order to get the first job guarantee, we do have a few requirements. They are somewhat simple. The first one being that you have to collaborate with a company during a study program. It can either be an in-company project, it can be an internship, or it can be your master or bachelor thesis. So master thesis in your cases. Pretty simple. The second one is that you're not allowed to delay your degree. You have to graduate within the 2 years of the master. That is very normal in Denmark. It's something very severe, I would say, has to happen in order for you to not graduate in the 2 years. I think 90%, 95% of all graduates in Denmark make it within the set time. So it's not something that's too challenging either. The worst part is probably learning Danish. However, it's only to a B1 level. As Jürgen said, we offer free Danish classes for all students on campus even. So you don't have to worry about running around city, not being able to find it, and it's after school hours. So you don't have to worry about it not matching with your schedule either. The hardest part about learning Danish is probably the pronunciation and getting to practice Danish. In Denmark, 90% of the population speaks English, and we love to speak English. So that means if we can hear someone struggling with Danish, we would like to help and speak English with you. But if you want to practice Danish, just insist that you want to practice Danish, and then we are happy to help you. And the pronunciation will come. The more you practice, the easier it gets. But an example is, of course, my name is quite a good example. As you know, I'm called Signe, but it's actually spelled S-I-G-N-E. There are a lot of letters that we don't pronounce in the Danish language, and it's not always that there are rules for it. So it can be challenging, but just practice and we are happy to help you. And it's a B1 level, so you can definitely get there. I've already talked a bit about the practical experience, but there's something that I would like to highlight, and that is the expert in teams. If you study software engineering, physics and technology, or robot systems in Odense, you will have this expert in teams on your master. It is a program or a class where you get together with all the other engineering programs across the semester. Then you work in larger groups, sometimes in collaboration with the company as well, and then you solve some issues and kind of imitates a work-life project or a real-life project in a company. So it's a lot of good practice, and you also get to test your skills as a project manager, if that's what you want to, of course. Not everyone can be a project manager. Something else as well is our SDU entrepreneurship labs. I don't know if any of you are interested in maybe having your own startup or entrepreneurship in general, but at the moment, because we have the SDU entrepreneurship lab, SDU is actually the #1 university in Denmark when it comes to startups. We have the most startup companies by students, and of course, we have the most successful startups by students. So it's really good opportunities. And the SDU entrepreneurship lab can help you with basically any step that you're taking, or any step that is your next step in the process. So how to do a business plan, how to pitch your idea to get some more funding, how to participate in competitions, how to also sometimes with the technical stuff, what should I do if my product is not working as it should? Is there any materials that they might be able to help you with? That's all SDU Entrepreneurship Lab, and they are happy to help you, and they're very good at what they do. Then a lot of people think it's very expensive to live in Denmark. It's not necessarily. In Copenhagen, yes, that is expensive, but since we are in the southern part of the country, it's really not that bad. Typically, for student housing, we have 3 options. One is that you have your own studio apartment with your own kitchen, bathroom, living space. That is typically around 350 to 400 euro a month, including things like heat, water, electricity, and internet as well. The cheapest option that we have is when you share the kitchen with other people. You will still have your own fridge and your own cupboards, so you don't have to worry about people taking your food by mistake or vice versa. Then you still have your own bathroom, your own living space. That's usually around 260 to 280, maybe 300 euro a month, again, including everything. Not least, we have the option of a shared apartment. So if any of you have significant other, a friend, siblings, or maybe some of you would like to live together in a dormitory or a student housing, you can apply for a shared apartment. Then you'll have each your own bedroom, common area, a kitchen, and a bathroom. And that's typically around 500 euro a month, again, including everything. 500 euro a month for the both of you. So that means it's only 250 each. And of course, you are allowed to work on a student visa in Denmark. You can work up to 20 hours a week, and you don't have to know Danish in order to have a part-time job. There are plenty of options to work in hospitals, I cannot speak. Hospitality is the word. In restaurants, cafes, retail as well. You can walk dogs, you can deliver newspapers, of course there are cleaning jobs, working in greenhouses. All of this you can do without knowing any kind of Danish. Again, because a lot of Danes speak English and we are happy to do so. During your semesters, you're allowed to work up to 20 hours a week. However, as soon as you have a summer break, you're allowed to work full-time. And because you have a lot of experience already, you all come with a bachelor, you will have a lot of knowledge. So it's going to be more likely for you to find a part-time job that is relevant for your study program in an engineering company. The salaries that you can see up here is the minimum salary for jobs where you don't need any academic skills, basically. The salaries in Denmark are typically set by unions, not necessarily by law, which means that if a place wants to offer you less than 100 Danish crowns, which is approximately 13.5 euro, it's not a great place to work. That means they're not part of a union, so they don't protect your student rights, or your rights as a student worker. Run away screaming. Find somewhere else where you can get a really good salary. Most companies that need your kind of experience offer a salary around maybe 15 to 20 euro an hour. So that's pretty good, and it's definitely also something that you can save up and live for. We have a lot of students saying that it's save up money. One of our students, who is now a PhD student, he got an EasyTex loan. He has not used a single peso at all, not a single dollar. They're still on his bank account. So he's paying everything back because he's been working. Any questions so far? Wonderful. I'll just continue. These are a few pictures of our dormitories, or student housing. On the top right, you can see one of the kitchens. They are fully equipped. They're really nice. It's not like you have to worry about how they're looking or anything like that. There are multiple ovens and stoves, so you don't have to worry about standing in line. And as you can see in the back, there are some multicolored cupboards, and each cupboard is for each apartment. Basically every dormitory also has an area where you can socialize. They have a basement where they have some game rooms. A lot of them has a fitness room as well, table tennis or table football, and a lot of green areas. Typically, they also have an area where you can go outside and barbecue in the summer, which is also really nice. And some really nice information to know as well when you come to Denmark is that when you first arrive, you will get something that we call a CPR number. The CPR number is a Danish social security number. The entire health system is, well, not the entire, but a lot of the health system, majority of the health system in Denmark is covered by the Danish government, by taxes. So you don't have to worry about falling off your bike, breaking an arm, having a cough, having to go to the doctor. That is all for free in Denmark, even if you have to call an ambulance. And your social security number will give you a small yellow card, which you just show basically anywhere you go if you want to, use a doctor or have an emergency or anything like that, or open a bank account. We also use the same number for that. Of course, there is the financing. The student jobs we already talked about. We also do a lot of student jobs at the university. We hire especially master students for research assistants. We hire them for, sometimes I bring students with me as well to events like this. So you can get a free travel back to Colombia if you get hired as a student ambassador, basically. There is also the opportunity for you to meet a lot of the companies on campus. We do matchmaking events where you can sign up for specific companies, but we also do job fairs, basically, where you can run around, give the different companies your resume, you can do some networking, and then find a part-time job that way. Then there are some social activities when you come to Denmark as well. It's not all just going to be boring information. So this is our intro team. It is all students who are going to do a lot of social activities with you. This is a schedule from, I think, last year, where they always have an intro party for all the students, for all students actually. Then they have a pub crawl as well. That's like both the intro party and the pub crawl of the cities are twice a year. Then we have the dorm race, where everyone goes on, of course, bicycles, because it's Denmark. So they go on bicycles from one student housing to another, get to see where people are living, get to hear some music, get to meet each other. And then, of course, we also have our intro tour, where you basically sign up to be kidnapped. You will be put on a bus. Sometimes you get blindfolded because you're not allowed to know where you go. And then you're gone for the entire weekend. You're gonna have a lot of fun. You're gonna not have any phones because pictures are not allowed. And then you just get to know your fellow students, have fun, party, and enjoy life, basically. Oh yeah, something else. The intro team also does a lot of other activities. Before COVID, they also turned the entire campus into one large escape room, basically. And they're planning on doing it again, and they do a lot of other things too. Activity days, they also organize different gaming events. So they're a really nice group to know. So, in case any of you are EU citizens or have dual citizenship, the bottom line is quite important for you. You don't pay any tuition fees in Denmark. But if not, the tuition fees are almost 7,000 for a semester. So almost 14,000 euro for a full academic year. It is a lot of money, but not as expensive as the UK or the US, thankfully. We do have a few scholarships. At the moment, we have scholarships for electronics, mechatronics, and mechanical engineering. We are changing our scholarships a bit so we can have more. Some will be full scholarships and some will be 50% scholarships. We're also working on maybe getting some scholarships for the robotics. But at the moment, those are the ones that we have. The admission process is pretty straightforward. These are the documents that we need. We need either IELTS, TOEFL, or Cambridge. And then we need your transcript records, graduate diploma, and a course description from your bachelor's. And if you have any other additional courses, summer school or electives or anything like that that you've done as well, include them. Yes. And of course, Instituto Nordico is really good at handling your entire process. They can help you applying, make sure you meet the deadlines, and that you get the best experience possible. The language requirements, Jürgen already talked about it a bit, but yes, for our university, we need a minimum score of 88 in TOEFL, minimum band average of 6.5, nothing lower than 5.5 in any of the areas. And if you do a Cambridge certificate, either C1 or C2, C1 minimum score of 180, C2 passed. And yeah, then we have an offer as well. If you'd like to talk to some of our current students, you are also welcome to come to Denmark, of course. We do offer something that we call Student for a Day. We have an online version and a physical version. The physical, both actually, can be whenever it suits you. You sign up online, maybe there's a holiday in Colombia that we don't have in Denmark, most likely. And then you can have a vacation in Denmark, combine it with a visit to the university. We will show you around, you can sit in with classes, talk to current students, talk to professors, guidance counselors, and everything. The online version is a bit smaller. So there you will have a meeting with current students. You can choose if you want to have a meeting with someone from Colombia or someone that's studying what you're interested in studying, or maybe the combination of both. Yeah, any questions? I don't bite, I promise. PhD programs is the same requirements? No, the PhD programs in Denmark are different because it's not a program, it's a job. So that means when you, do I need the microphone or can everyone hear me? Okay. Microphone? Great. So PhD programs in Denmark are not a study program, it's a job. So when you apply for a PhD, you apply as if it was a job. You go to the website, look for vacant study places, and then there's a section that's called PhDs. They're released, I think, approximately 4 times a year, every quarter. It varies a bit depending on how many PhDs they're needing. And then you apply as a job, as I said, upload your information, and then you write a suggestion of how you would like to do your PhD or what you would like to do your PhD about. And then it's a 3-year program that you get paid for.
Bueno, hoy en día, vamos a quedarse en Dinamarca 3 años buscando un trabajo. ¿Cómo postar visa? Entonces, hablando como del postar de visa, sé que cuando empiezas a mirar como de pronto Inglaterra, en Gran Bretaña, entre otros, el postar de visa es para trabajar, ¿no? El aspecto nórdico funciona un poco diferente. El postar de visa para buscar un trabajo. En Dinamarca, pueden quedarse 3 años buscando un trabajo. En ese garantizan el trabajo. Pues puede quedarse 3 años sin problema. ¿Sí? Cuando ya tiene un trabajo, cambia una visa de trabajo y pueden quedarse el tiempo que ustedes quieran, literal, para que tengan un contrato. Y como ven, acá hay muchos ingenieros, entonces no creo que van a quedarse sin ni un día sin trabajo, ¿sí? Que también es importante tener en cuenta, ¿sí? Otro tema hablando de, bueno, los programas son en inglés, no son danés, son en inglés, ¿sí? Ya tienen varias personas de la Universidad Nacional que ya están allá. Entonces, una persona que ya hace su doctorado en Odense está comprando 3.500 euros para hacer el doctorado allá. Y luego, el segundo año, suben el sueldo, tercer año aún más. ¿Sí? Pero un poco encima con funciona un postar de visa, que es muy diferente. Y como ven acá, Sonneborg es una ciudad donde hacen más startups en toda Dinamarca. Entonces, dice que no, quiere tener una empresa. Perfecto, ahí está la opción. ¿Sí? Pues vamos a seguir con a ver si tenemos más preguntas en línea de pronto, o una pregunta de ustedes. Porque creo que acá hace más quien estudia, que estudian. Pero ¿qué estudias tú? ¿Sí? Arquitectura. Bueno, pues arquitectura lo tenemos, pero no en SDU. Bueno. Pues apiarte con otras universidades, pero en SDU no, pero nosotros lo tenemos con Chalmers y con Alto. Entonces no te preocupes, te podemos ayudar. Nosotros trabajamos con 17 universidades en total en los países nórdicos. En ingeniería, SDU, increíble. Acá no es tanto para contactar nosotros. Como contactar nosotros no cobran nada por nuestros servicios. Pues nosotros recibimos apoyo de la universidad. Entonces, ustedes pagan toda la universidad y a nosotros nada, para que sepan. Bueno, el costo a aplicar, ¿cómo es la application fee?
The application fee is €100, but when you get accepted, it is deducted from your tuition fee.
Daniel, ahora te voy a molestar. Daniel es una persona interesante. Él aplicó el año pasado, tiene unos problemitas, pero Daniel, ¿por qué quieres ir a hacer en SDU?
Bueno, pues digamos que yo...
¿Ese que en inglés?
Ok, bueno, ahí vino de las ferry. Yes, last year I was interested. I talked with Sebastian in that moment, and I applied to SDU. That was my first option and the only option. Then I passed, but unfortunately because of economic reasons, and also because I tried to do the loan with ICETEX, and unfortunately for the documents that they asked, I couldn't afford the loan at that moment. So, but I want to try again to apply for the SDU. And also I have a question, because regarding of the I don't know, the credits that you asked, there is one credit that is related with statistical method or machine learning. I want to know what are the subjects related with the program that is mechanical or mechatronic. Anyone want to apply?
Daniel, Why SDU and why not another place? Tell me why.
Why?
Sebastian is in SDU
Yeah,
and
why?
he's very, very happy. But yes, why SDU?
Well, I know maybe because I was so interested related with Denmark. Also, in that moment I was fascinated about the culture. Also, one thing that is the job opportunity. That is great. And because one thing is because besides I am mechanical engineer, I want to learn about electronics related with mechatronics. So that's the career I want to study.
Yes. So to answer the question about the machine learning and statistics or statistics, it is something that usually you have as not necessarily as a course, but it's part of other courses in mechanics or mechatronics or electronics. Especially the statistics comes in the form of mathematics. And you don't need both statistics and machine learning, just one or the others. It's not necessarily with both. So if you have statistics in mathematics, you can use those credits. And if you have it separate, wonderful as well. If you don't have statistics, you can look at machine learning. I'm not personally an engineer, so correct me if I'm wrong. As far as I remember, machine learning also looks at how to program, how to do modeling. So that's it's a very theoretical course. It's not a lot of practice, and it's not about knowing how machines work, basically. Yes.
Preguntas del público en línea. Listo, perfecto.
Thank you. We have some questions about our public. If you can tell in detail the process for the PhD and how is the process, the step by step of the application.
So I'll just hold both of them in my hand. It's going to be easier. So the process for the PhD, as I said, you go to our website, you look for jobs. You don't look for study program, you go look for free job positions. And in there is a section that's for PhDs. You then upload information about yourself, your name, your age, your information about your bachelor and your master program, what you studied, and what you would like your PhD program or your PhD project to be about. Of course, there are specific areas that they're looking for, but you go in and say, in this area, I can see myself, and I'd like to talk about or do my project about this. And of course, a bit more detail and a plan about how long it's going to take. And then we have two kinds of PhDs in Denmark. They're both 3-year long, but you can choose to either do a specific amount of publications over the 3 years, and then your final project will be shorter. Or you can choose to not do a lot of publications, and then your final project will be much longer. So those are the two options. During your PhD, you will also have to either do some supervision for students, either on semester projects or their final thesis can also be, or you will have to do some teaching. So you might have one course that you're teaching every year or every semester so that you get some more experience in that area as well. And then, of course, there's a lot of research, both practical and theoretical research.
Thank you very much. We have another question. How may I obtain the residency after the studies?
So with the residence permit, it's not my strongest area of expertise, but as far as I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, Anna, my colleague is also here for those of you who are looking on at home or from home. It takes approximately 5 years to get the residency, the permanent residency. You have to do language courses. You have to learn Danish, and there is a citizenship test or that's citizenship. Never mind, that's not residency. But you can have your job permit. You have 6 months when you graduate to find a job. However, because you're graduating from a higher education, you can apply for an extension, and then you have 3 years to find a job in Denmark. As soon as you have a job, it's going to be easier to get a permanent residency. But you do have to have been in Denmark for at least 5 years. Anything to add?
No, it's hard for us to decide.
Yes.
It's a process that may change.
Yes, it's a government process. We don't have any influence on it, so it's really hard for us to guide. But that's basic information that we know, and if there's any more information you'd like to know, recommend that you look into the government website and contact someone there, or the embassy.
Okay.
So looking at, si miremos como la aplicación de la visa, es realmente muy sencilla, ¿sí? Ningún rechazo de las visas hasta el momento, ¿sí? Todos se han ido. Es muy rápido, como a 2 o 3 semanas ya tienen la visa, ¿sí? Entonces la aplicación de la visa es sencilla, no es ningún rechazo hasta el momento, pero que no vamos a tener ninguno tampoco. Y la embajada acá es muy buena, como tal, muy, muy queridos. Entonces, bueno, un poco de la aplicación de la visa, pero no es tan difícil y ningún rechazo hasta el momento. Bueno.
Cambio un momento a español para complementar la información que se ha dado en las últimas respuestas. Para aplicar también a doctorados en toda la Unión Europea, tenemos una oficina que se llama Euraccess. Esta es una oficina de la Unión Europea que está alrededor del mundo. Aquí en Latinoamérica tenemos la fortuna de tener esta oficina en Bogotá. Entonces, pueden ingresar a la página web de Euraccess. Nosotros también llevamos a cabo un evento como este con la oficina de Euraccess. Ellos nos contaron de primera mano cuáles son las oportunidades y, como se mencionaba, todos los doctorados son trabajos, entonces no hay que pagar, sino al contrario, te pagan por realizar tu doctorado, tu investigación en todas las áreas del saber. Entonces, las oportunidades están. ¿Cómo aplicar también a todas estas oportunidades? Recuerden que, como ya lo hemos mencionado en los diferentes webinars que hemos realizado, se aplica en paralelo a la universidad, al programa académico, al mismo tiempo a la beca y al mismo tiempo a la visa. ¿Por qué? Porque los tiempos, como vieron, son muy cortos entre que uno tiene la información y realiza el proceso para poder aplicar. Si uno deja de hacer uno de estos pasos, puede correr el riesgo de perder todo el proceso. Entonces, hacer todos estos pasos en paralelo, tenemos instituciones como el Instituto Nórdico, como Euraccess que les comento, igual las oficinas de internacionalización de aquí de la Universidad Nacional tenemos a nivel de sede, en Bogotá tenemos a nivel de facultad, y nosotros que somos la Dirección de Relaciones Exteriores a nivel nacional para poder resolver sus dudas. Igualmente, las oficinas de Relaciones Internacionales, como quienes nos visitan hoy, están muy atentos a solucionar todas las dudas. Entonces, las oportunidades las hay, becas hay, para que apliquemos y veamos con tiempo las posibilidades. Así estamos empezando el pregrado, ver las oportunidades, conocer las experiencias de quienes ya han tenido la oportunidad de aplicar, y como mencionaba Jorgen, hemos tenido ya muchas personas de nuestra universidad que han aplicado y han tenido inclusive el lujo de decidir por cuál de las becas que se ganaron se van de acuerdo a su gusto, porque han aplicado. Tuvimos el caso de una estudiante que aplicó a 3 becas de las más importantes de la región de los países nórdicos y se ganó las 3. Digamos, el problema para ella fue escoger en dónde quería estudiar. Entonces, que nuestros problemas cambien de no sé qué estudiar, no sé cómo continuar, no tengo dinero, a que el problema sea no sé por cuál de todas estas becas que me gané puedo aplicar. Entonces, la invitación está para que realicemos las consultas, realicemos los procesos, y pues estamos muy atentos para atender todas sus preguntas. ¿Quieren mencionar algo?
¿Hay más preguntas en línea? No. Pues veamos, pues, por ahora no hay más preguntas en línea, pero igual, como comentábamos, nosotros estamos acá para apoyar a ustedes, ¿sí? Para que sea una aplicación exitosa. Entonces, ¿qué hemos visto acá? Cuando aplica, por ejemplo, SDU, miran muchos prerequisitos, nosotros sabemos que necesitan. Nosotros van a cobrar nada de ustedes, porque nosotros, ¿para qué? No No hay por qué cobrar ustedes. De pronto hay agencias que cobran, nosotros no vamos a cobrar ni un peso a ustedes, ¿eh? Pagan toda la universidad. Bueno, las oportunidades están acá, están como el pilar. Y el gran aliado en Colombia es la nacional. La mitad de nuestros aplicantes son de acá. La mayoría de la gente que ganan becas son de la Universidad Nacional. ¿Sí? Mira, si son ingenieros ya han visto mi camiseta, ¿no? Nosotros amamos los ingenieros, pero nosotros los ingenieros, los arquitectos también, son muy buenos. Los arquitectos son muy bien en Europa. Porque un arquitecto acá sabe, literal, cómo poner, primero dibujar la casa, poner el ladrillo, hasta que terminar la casa, tiene un conocimiento impresionante. La gente se sorprende de conocimiento de un arquitecto en el exterior. No pueden creer que saben tanto. ¿Sí? Porque son especialistas en un campo, hay en los nórdicos, pero acá son especialistas en casi todo. ¿Sí? Y ustedes son muy buenos. ¿Sí? Entonces, los profesionales de acá en Colombia son muy buenos. ¿Sí? Y lo que hemos visto, que leen muy bien en el exterior. ¿Sí? Entonces, muy importante, ¿no? Nosotros amamos la nacional y los profesionales acá. Entonces, queremos que apliquen. ¿Sí? Pues no sé qué más decir. ¿Tiene alguna pregunta acá del público? Igual, creo que vamos a quedar acá un ratico para que puedan hacer preguntas directamente a Sidney y a Anne. Pues es como un poco de como timidez preguntar acá del público, pero igual quedamos un ratico más. Entonces no se preocupen. Sí, acá tienes una pregunta.
En el mismo instituto también como que le ayudan a uno como a observar estas opciones de todas las becas y financiación y todo eso.
Sí, nosotros sí hayamos con todo ese proceso, hablando como de las becas y todo. Nosotros sí. Y esa asesoría es gratuita, completamente gratuita. Entonces, cuando ya tiene el inglés, ya empezamos con el proceso de aplicar. Miremos cuáles serían las opciones. ¿Sí? Ese es un acompañamiento como tal, completamente gratuito. Bueno.
Bueno, con esto concluimos nuestro Tinto, como nuestro espacio se llama Tinto con la Universidad del Sur de Dinamarca. Al finalizar el evento, quienes se encuentran presencialmente los invitamos a disfrutar un tinto a la salida del auditorio, y a nuestros invitados virtuales les agradecemos también por asistir, por sus preguntas, y les agradecemos que repliquen esta información, estos enlaces con quienes consideren puedan estar interesados, que todo esto aplica para nuestra Universidad Nacional y para quienes estén interesados, para todos los colombianos que quieran aplicar, pueden hacerlo a través del Instituto Nórdico o directamente con la universidad. Muchas gracias y que tengan muy feliz día.